How's it going, guys? Beyond the Benches coming at you, making this video a little bit differently than I normally do, a little later as well than I normally release these videos, but just wanted to get this out here because, of course, about an hour into my shift starts the biggest news for the Miami Dolphins, probably in the last 5 or 6 years, to be quite honest, goes down as Ryan Tannehill. The era has ended, as I talked about in my last video. We knew it was going to come at some point this offseason. As he has been traded to the Tennessee Titans. Him and a 6th round pick in 2019 head to Tennessee, and the Dolphins get back a 7th rounder this year and a 2024 round pick. So again, the Dolphins continue to stack up picks in that 2020 draft, which I'll get to in a little bit later. But first, I know there's obviously lots of jokes about Ryan Tannehill. His entire career, half the fan base was behind him, half the fan base wasn't. I was a guy who was behind him really up until, last offseason. I really started to feel like we needed to draft somebody like Mason Rudolph, and you can go check that out because I just kind of lost some of the trust. And then seeing him come back this year from the injury, he wasn't the same guy, I could tell. He ended up getting injured again, this time in the shoulder. And I just knew it was time to move on. But, I want to just, I thanked Ryan Tannehill earlier on my pages and my social media platforms because, the dude did give us 7 years of service. He took a lot of hits, a lot of crap. The Dolphins really did not do him any favors while he was our starting quarterback. And he never complained. He's got a great personality, a good work ethic. Titans, I think you're getting the best backup quarterback in the league. Period. So shout out to Ryan Tannehill. Thanks for everything, man. It didn't work out. I don't blame the Dolphins for moving on, but it's still unfortunate to see. Would have loved to see the Ryan Tannehill experiment work out, but unfortunately not able to do so as the Dolphins continue the rebuilding process. And now to break down this trade a little bit, to get to it from the Titans perspective, as I mentioned, they pick up a really good backup quarterback. Tannehill also agrees to restructure his contract to a $7 million deal with a whole bunch of incentives, it being if he actually plays and leads them to the playoffs and stuff like that. So, it works out for them, and especially considering Marcus Mariota's health the past few years. He has missed some games, and when he's missed games, like many teams, their chances of winning basically go down the toilet. So now with Ryan Tannehill, there's really not much of a difference, to be honest, between Mariota and Tannehill. I've actually compared those two quarterbacks pretty much their entire career. I'll go ahead and say Mariota is better just to avoid any arguments, but it's not a huge difference. So this makes sense for the Titans in that regard. I don't know how long Tannehill stays there. As far as him, he goes to a place where maybe Mariota gets hurt and he gets the chance to play. And then after that, he's going to be a free agent. And I think this could be the start of Tannehill having, a Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of career where he's always a valuable commodity because of the fact that he is so close to starting, average starting level. And I think he's always going to be wanted. I think he's got another 5, 6, 7 years left in his career if it's not, starting somewhere as a journeyman quarterback at this point, which is crazy to think of for Tannehill as he has been the Dolphins starter for so long. But, for the Miami Dolphins, this wasn't just about getting rid of Tannehill, which, was something that the organization felt they needed to do. They just need to go in a new direction. For better or for worse, it leaves Jake Rudock and Luke Falk as our only two quarterbacks. So, my goodness there. But, obviously they're going to look to try and add some bodies. We'll still see if it's in 2019 or 2020 that they make a shot at a franchise quarterback yet again. That's still to be determined. But the interesting thing is that the prize draft pick was a 2020 4th round pick. They're expected to get a 3rd round comp pick for losing Juwan James. They're expected to get a 5th or 6th round comp pick for losing Cameron Wake. So right now you're looking at it, and the Dolphins are expected to have 11 draft picks in 2020. 11. So their mission is pretty clear. By the way, they're only expected to have 6 this year. So while they are going to try and get some stuff done and start the rebuild this offseason, 2020 is clearly the offseason that the Miami Dolphins are building towards. And whether that means taking a quarterback at the top of the 2020 draft or not, or if the Dolphins, make a move this year, or if the Dolphins go 6-10 next year and aren't at the top of the draft. 2020 is still going to be a huge year for the Miami Dolphins, and this trade is just, further cementing that point as the Dolphins continue to rebuild in that way. I think this is a really good move. The Dolphins needed the draft pick and they needed the cap space. I think the Titans, if you can get over giving up a 4th-round pick, this helps a lot, because one of the true weaknesses on their team was backup quarterback. Blaine Gabbert just isn't any kind of good. And, at least with Tannehill, you have someone that is respectable and could start. So, it's going to be unfortunate for some Dolphin fans. The Tannehill didn't work out. I'm sure there's just as many celebrating it. To me, I always, back when the Tannehill debates were going on, I always said if Tannehill didn't work out, it was a bigger reflection on the Miami Dolphins than it was Ryan Tannehill, and I still believe that. You talk about a guy that when he was drafted was a wide receiver half the time in college. He was projected as a project, but no, instead we start him right away, week 1, year 1, which we probably shouldn't have done. Gave him very little skilled talent, a bad offensive line, a bad coach, and I think that stuff just put bad habits in Tannehill that he never grew out of. His decision making lacked, his pocket awareness lacked, and I just think it comes from how we treated him at the beginning of his career. And then you look at 2016, really started to, you felt like he was breaking through with Adam Gase. That's the best year of his career. I mean, he was on point. Some of the throws he made that year, go back and watch the highlights. Some insane throws, some insane comebacks. Truly looked like a franchise quarterback. And then the unfortunate ACL injury against the Cardinals, and spent the last 2 years trying to get back to that point, but it just never happened. And ultimately, both sides now parting ways. And what this means for the Dolphin future, I don't know. It is very uncertain, but I will continue to update y'all as the news breaks and as more deals get done. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow for more Dolphins coverage. And I will see y'all next time.